guys, Katy Huller here with KidsCanReadAndWrite.com. I wanted to talk to you today about reading. I was working with a student who just kept guessing at words. And I kept saying, you have to go in order. You have to start on the left, go to the right. It's a code. If you just look at a word and say whatever comes to your mind, you are probably going to miss it, which he was. He was just calling out random words. When he would slow down and use the code, then he could read the words. So I wanted to talk to you about knowing the code. Now, in his case, it wasn't a matter of he didn't know the code, because the only words I was asking him to read were ones we'd gone over. So when he slowed down and actually sounded out the words part by part, he would get them right. But when he wouldn't slow down and sound them out, his brain would just tell him some similar looking word, and that's what he would call out. So I want to talk to you about just a few words today and see if you or your child knows the code, right? I want you to see how well you know the code, because maybe you've just done like him and memorized a bunch of words, and your first impulse is just to say whatever you see. But I want you to start noticing why words say what they say, so that you will know the code, and then you can figure out if you're saying the right thing or not. Or if you're working with a child who doesn't know the code yet, you will know better how to help your child. Okay, so let's talk about just 4 words today, 4 different words. And let's see if you know the code behind them. So if we look at this first word, remember, to read words in English, you need to start on the left, this side, and you need to find the vowels or vowel combinations. In this case, this is a trick combination. A and the U say ah. Okay, U is a substitute dentist. A and W also say ah. W is a real dentist, and U, who looks just like W, is his son and substitute dentist. So when you see AW or AU, you want to say ah, because that A is opening his mouth wide for his dentist. So this is a vowel combination. It doesn't fall under the 2 vowels walking one. That would be if this said its name. This is a different one because U is A's dentist. And so A says ah for the U. All right, so when you find that vowel, you want to glue it on to the next sound. So we're gonna read it L, on, lawn. Now I'm seeing that there is a suffix ending. We can take ED endings off, and you should see the root word before it. So in this case, we could read L, on, ch. Did you know that CH said ch? Launch. And then do you know what ED says after all those letters? When ED is used at the end of a word, it normally says duh. Duh, 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 duh. Okay? If it comes after a T or a D, which that is not, it would change to an ed sound. But this is just duh, because it doesn't come after a T or a D. It means that we already did the word before it. Okay? So if the root word is launch, launch, and then we add that suffix duh, it means we already did this. Launched. We launched the rocket. Okay? It already went up into space. We launched it. Okay? This means we already did it. Past tense. So when you see ED at the end of a word, you can actually take it off, read the word before it, and then put it on. All right, so did you know that trick, and that trick? Did you spot them when we looked at the word? That's what you want to start doing. You want to start seeing the code that's behind the words. And I'm telling you, if your child doesn't already know that A and the U say ah, or that C and the H say ch, or the ED says duh at the end of a word, unless it comes after a T or a D, then you might want to look into the Black Belt Reading Program, because I've done videos on all these tricks and they all go in order, so that if you follow the order and just go through the program, it gives you a way to teach your child the code behind the words so that he or she can read the words with confidence and ease. And it has everything from little words to big words. So you kind of grow as you go, and the words get bigger and bigger as you go along. But it has a packet full of all the worksheets and stuff you need to do reading words, reading sentences, writing sentences, comprehension, stories, just everything you need. So if you need that, if you don't know this code and you want to learn it, look into the Black Belt Reading Program. You can find that at kidscanreadandwrite.com or at kidscanonlineacademy.com. Either place, look for the Black Belt Reading Program. And if you need big words because you're working with an older reader, get in touch with me and I'll put together a special program for you, because I don't have that one for sale yet. I have the beginner reader, which is more for like first grade and second grade, third if you're just a non-reader still. But I have higher editions if you need it. So I have a third grade level, kind of like third, fourth, and then I have a fourth, fifth level, and then I have one that's even harder than that can help you too. So let me know if you need extra help. Anyway, so that's the first word, launched. So you have to know the code, right? You have to know these tricks that are hiding in words, and you have to understand that you need to start on the left side and work your way all the way to the end. So what a lot of kids do is they'll read part of it, decide they already know the word, maybe they read lawn, and they go laundry. Or they go law, and they say something that starts with law. Okay, so we want to make sure that they start here, but that they keep driving and they don't insert any other sounds as they get all the way to the end. That's the code. You have to know letters, you have to know sounds, you have to know how to blend these letters together, and you have to know the tricks. It's all really important. And of course, there are some words that just don't follow the rules. You have to know those too. But most of the words follow the tricks. So let's work on a few more. In this one, here's that first vowel. Oh, left this open too long. So we're going to just drag it into that next sound, and that's where we'll break it. Now, did you know that E and the R make one sound when they're together? They say Don't say say okay? E and the R say So we're just going to blend that right into that last sound. So when we read this, we would go X, pert. Put them together, expert. So, are you becoming an expert on finding the tricks like this one? And again, we have to watch the code. It's going to tell us exactly what to say in the order to say it. We just have to make sure we're making all these sounds in this order. You can't be excited because this part says pert, right? So we have to make sure we're following the order all the way to the end. And that's super important. All right, who can spot the tricks in this word? Challenge yourself, see if you spot any tricks. Do you see any letter combinations that don't make their usual sounds? Let's see. So I see the I finding GH. That's one of my favorite tricks. G and the H love to play hide and go seek. And when the I finds him, he says, I see you. So we're going to say I for this part. Now, if you're hiding, G and the H are hiding, they don't say anything because they're hiding. So don't make a sound for them. but the I shouts out, I see you. So that's one big trick, and when you know that, it makes it so much easier to read this part. I, hi. Now we still have this and this. Do you know what a Y says when he's not in the first three seats of the word? He says, E. That many people are going? No, thanks. So when we read this, we go, I, hi, E, Lee, highly. How about that? It has a code to it. If you know the code, it's not a crazy, bizarre English word. It's just one that has the code telling you what to say. This is what I love about reading and what I'm always telling kids. You don't have to just know these words magically. There's a code that you need to know. And when you know the code, it's like opening a lock. You're putting the combination in, opening it up. If you make these sounds in this order, boom, you open the lock, okay? You broke the code. So that's really important. All right, in this word, do you see any tricks? Well, if you know that IVE is a suffix, and it looks like it would say I've, right? Because it has that sleepy E who usually bosses the closest vowel. But in this case, it's a suffix. And we have to end a word in something other than a V. You're not allowed to end a word with a V in the English language. So we add the quietest letter we can think of, which is the E. Now, IVE is a suffix. It says if. Normally it says if. Now, after 1, 2, or 3 letters, occasionally it will say I've, like a true sleepy E word. But when it's used as a suffix at the end of a word, notice this is a word, that's when it says if for sure, okay? Now you have to kind of play with it. So I always tell kids, V's usually strong enough, these are his muscles, where he can push that sleepy E away and protect the vowel by himself. But sometimes his muscles give out and that E will boss the I, or whatever letter's there. So that's what I tell the kids. Try it short first, if. If it doesn't work, you can try it long. All right, so now we're gonna find that vowel. E is our first vowel. We're gonna glue it on and break it. Notice we have 2 F's, so we're gonna say F. Now we're gonna do this part. Fect, effect, effective. Now, if you want to use my usual way where we go one passive vowel and you break it here instead of here, well, let's see if that would work. Effective. Effective. Hey, guess what? Either way works. And that's why I teach kids. Just go one passive vowel and break it. Because usually it works. And it doesn't really matter if the real root word is this, and we're just adding that or not, if kids can follow the code and figure it out either way. So, I hope that helps, guys. Did you see how many tricks are in just those words? Your kids need to know the code. If they don't know these tricks, they're going to get tricked. That's why I call them tricks. It's just easier for everyone to understand, okay? Now, if you look up here, you can look for more tricks. There are so many tricks in words. I see a trick here. Let me get a different color. The 2 vowels walking trick. The E will say its name. Eed. There's Daddy's face. Read. I see an O-R, or what? Wards. Wards. Sounds like wards. It's really words, but that's how it's spelled, wards. I see O-W ending. Do you know what that says? Oh, I better not pinch here. I might get in trouble. Because usually O pinches W. But when he's at the end, the teacher's there and he says, oh, I better not pinch here. I might get in trouble. Notice how the double L's blocks that trick ending from bossing the O. So that's why it's follow. I see a trick here. I see the E bossing himself. I see a trick here. So we have tricks in so many words, okay? It's important that your kids get really good at spotting them and using them. It's also important that they understand that reading is following a code. And if you don't follow the code, you'll get tricked. So if you need more help, guys, look up the Black Belt Reading Program. Again, I hope this helped you understand a little bit more about the code today. Thank you so much for joining me and sticking with me to the end. I appreciate it so much, and I hope that you will help spread the word so that kids won't have to suffer not knowing how to read words. Let's help all the kids learn to read and write so their confidence and spirits can grow and be successful in this world. So thanks again for joining me, guys. Talk to you soon.